Welcome to a yoga class where our theme is learning how to pause and listen within. All of these wonderful poses that we have, and breath practices, and all these different technologies, right? And techniques that have been mastered and sent down the generations so that we can also benefit from them. They're also useful, right? So some of our poses and some of our technologies help us clean out the system, right? Some help us get stronger, so we're less apt for injury. Some of these help us rest and relax so that we can let the stress out of the system. And of course, in my classes, we'll do like a combination of these that's really curated so that we feel really whole and complete when we're done. But actually, the main focus of today is going to be something that's not exactly a technique or a technology, though we will approach it through some techniques I'll teach. But what we're really coming back to is the heart of the meditation practice, the heart of really all of our spiritual practices. And what we're going to be accessing is awareness, inner awareness. And as my teacher says, everyone has inner awareness, therefore everyone can get enlightened, therefore no one can actually fail. And he says all the theories, all the techniques, they're all fine. But the most important thing is cultivating this inner awareness. Good news, it's always here. It doesn't go anywhere. And so really a lot of what we're going to be doing is learning how to release our awareness or our attention from being kind of stuck in other places that are not the inner experience that we're having right now. And so for every part of the body that we access, for every pose that we do today, I'm going to try to keep bringing you back into just really simple, the sensations, the inner experience. And I hope that your inner guru, is doing that in between my reminders, right? That inner sensibility is starting to get that exercise. And once we get that, really everything we do becomes meditation. Even when we're having challenging conversations with people or wherever we are in the world, we start to just automatically touch back into our inner awareness where we get that sacred, direct information through our own bodies. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to begin actually with a little massage work for the feet. And so if you don't have a massage ball, I recommend just sitting down and, grabbing a foot and getting in there with your thumbs and your fingers. If you do have a massage ball, you might want to start standing, and we'll do about a minute on each side. So if you're standing, you could just step one foot onto the ball and start rolling around. And again, if you're on the ground seated, you just pick one foot, and I'm going to time us out a minute here. And just follow the sensation, right? You're not like needing just some external thing or some like piece of clay. As you're kneading your own foot, your foot is sending you immediate, direct information. Breathe. Imagine you could send breath into that foot, in and out of that foot. You might want to pause. Let's do 2 extra breaths here. And you might want to pause at some point and just let the weight go heavy into the ball or into your hands. And maybe take one last exhale out of your mouth, cleaning out the foot. Switch sides. This is a really direct sensory experience. And yet, I can really easily be doing my shopping list. I can be really easily multitasking, right, with the attention. Meditation 101, just let go of all the multitasking. Just let go of all of that. And naturally, actually, your awareness will drop back into what's happening right now, right here. It's real. Send your breath in and out of that foot. We're going to do 3 more breath cycles here. Don't be afraid to pause and just let the weight go heavy onto that side. One more breath. Potentially breathing out of the mouth, if that feels like a clearing for you. All right, nice. So now we're gonna meet lying on the back. And once you come onto the back, the first thing I want you to check in with is your sacrum. So the low back, tailbone area, all that. Can you just make sure that that feels like really comfortable on the ground? I often have to pick my hips up, tuck my tailbone a bit, and then drop it back down so that I feel some kind of elongation there. And then you're gonna keep the right sole of the foot on the ground and just lift up the left leg. And now admire your beautiful foot, and you can roll the ankle. You could do whatever feels good, like you're just trying to clear some more energy out of the foot and now out of the lower leg. And then I want you to go ahead and interlace your fingers behind the back of your left thigh. And for some of us, we may actually want a belt for this, but I think most of us should be able to go ahead and clasp there. And then I want you to send the left heel up to the sky. Send your left thigh forward into the hands, right? This direct contact with our hands helps us bring the awareness there. And then listen, the sits bone on the left side also wants to be pushing forward like the same way that the thigh is. And then the heel's pressing up. At the same time, there's a kind of downward motion through the top of the femur bone, so it's kind of pressing into the earth. 2 more really big breaths. And it's like you're just getting super duper organized, right? In your hips and leg. And then you're gonna cross your left ankle, the one that's up in the air, over your right thigh, the foot that's on the ground, leg. And then you can hug your right thigh into the chest, or some of you may not need to. You may feel like you're getting plenty of stretch without picking up the right leg. And now again, take really deep breaths, and you'll notice these different technologies you're using, these different poses that we're doing, help us access information from different spaces in the body. And your awareness is like taking a little journey through these different spaces. Welcome to exhale out of the mouth. You can feel what that technology does, right? And then both soles of the feet back down on the ground. Pick up the right leg and go ahead and admire your foot and roll that ankle and just move the energy around. You can flex and point, you could flare and squeeze the toes. And then interlace the fingers behind the back of the right thigh. And again, can you get organized? Can you press the right thigh forward, like away from your own belly? And the sits bone goes in that same direction. At the same time, the right heel goes up to the sky, and there's also a kind of dropping down through the top of the right femur bone. And if that all sounds too complicated, don't worry. As long as your awareness is down there in your leg, in the foot, in the sensations, you're perfect. You're doing great. We're going to do this hip stretch now. So you'll bend the right knee and you'll take the right ankle over the left thigh. You'll notice if you just start to send the right knee forward, but the ankle is hooked, so there's that tension there that you'll get a stretch. We deepen it by hugging the left thigh in toward the chest. And I want you to experiment. I said I'd give you a couple techniques. There's different ways to really grow our awareness in these spaces. One is that I like to use a lot, and I'll share it with you now. One is I like to envision light in any of the spaces where I feel sensation. It helps me hook my attention in there. It helps me stay connected and fascinated. And then lo and behold, my mind doesn't want to go to all these distractions like it used to before the training, right? Okay. Both feet back on the ground now. And from here, I would love for you to come actually onto your belly. So a nice amount of work on the mat today before we come up. For me, again, just helps me keep my attention really focused inward when I'm not doing such performative poses. Okay, I'm in Sphinx pose. You should be too. Put your elbows underneath your shoulders. Spread out your fingers, palms on the ground. So try this first with the tops of the feet on the ground. But kind of press down to the tops of the feet so the legs are engaged. Your kneecaps may even come a little off the ground. If you feel it in your low back, adjust so that you don't, right? Play around with it, right? Find some way to let that go. Now really press down through your elbows, pull your forearms back and pull your chest forward. So again, we get opposition and notice the sensation in your chest. All right, from here, you're gonna come onto your right side. So you're leaned up. I'm actually up on my right forearm. And then my knees will bend. Left knee on top of the right knee. Take your left hand to your left hip, and we're gonna do these little clamshells. And look at your knees, and can you cheat your left knee forward? So your hips are a little skewed, your knees a little forward. I know it feels a little awkward and out of balance, but this is actually how we're gonna really get into this particular muscle in the left side of your tush. So here you go, your clamshells. Lift the left knee and then lower it. The left foot stays glued to the right foot. And you should start to feel some action sort of behind the glutes, underneath the glutes, okay? You're gonna do a handful more of these. Use your belly, engage your belly. If you don't feel it in your glutes, if you feel it lots of other places but not there, maybe bring your knees up a little bit more towards your chest, less pointed away, and maybe scooch that top knee a little bit further forward. Do like 5 more. I say this a lot, and literally no one's ever taken me up on it, but if I ever teach something and you don't understand it or you want more help or guidance, reach out. I'd be super happy to make you a little tutorial. Okay, you should be feeling it now, right? All right, now we're gonna do a little release for the leg. So now lift your left knee up and then extend the left leg into the sky, the leg straight and the foot up in the air, up kind of towards your head. And then replace it, put the foot down, put the knee down, and then just kick the leg forward. And you can do a couple more kicks if you want. Sometimes that feels really good. Yeah. And then come back onto the belly. Do another Sphinx pose. This time, tuck your toes under for the Sphinx pose. Elbows directly under the shoulders, hands spread wide. Now the toes are tucked. And just notice what that does. Your knees should easily lift off the ground with engaged legs. Belly strong. Notice where you feel the bend in your back, and can you make it more about the upper back? Can you actually let your belly, parts of your belly sink down a little bit more? Pull your heart forward, engage through the feet more, press back through the feet, forward through the heart. And then you're gonna set up on the other side for these clamshells. And you can probably just turn right over easily, but I'm gonna turn this way so you can see me. Okay, so now exact same thing on this side. So remember how we set up the legs? Your knees wanna be up kind of in line with your hips, not pointed down or away. Your right knee is jutting over your left knee. You can see it. Right hand can be on your hip, belly engaged, and then clamshells. So you'll lift and lower. These really clear, simple actions here. And my hope is that you'll be experiencing, this part of your body that maybe we don't feel information from very often. Breathe deeply. Stay with the experience. About 5 more on this side. Notice if there's stories about the sensation or when's it going to stop or whatever. Can you just be with the sensation? Just be with it. Okay. Yeah, let go of everything else. And then let that go. Finishing up that exercise. We're just going to release this hip for a sec. So 1 more clamshell, lifted knee, and then extended leg, and just reach it up and stretch it. And then replace the foot, close your clamshell, and do a little swing, little kick forward, looks like grazing the ground. And if it feels good, you could do a couple more of those. Now find your way onto your belly again. And this time, I'll show you facing this way. You're gonna take tented fingers wide, a little bit off your mat. I'm sideways on mine, but your mat will probably be a little narrower than your hands. Elbows over your wrists, Press down through your feet and your finger pads, and then lift the chest up. And you'll feel like this is like Sphinx pose, but a little different because of the arms and the tented fingers. But now we're going to twist it. So the left shoulder will dip. You can tuck your chin a little bit as you look over toward the right shoulder. Inhale, come up, come back to center. Exhale, dip the right shoulder. Letting the head drop a little and twist to the left. And inhale, come up. Now, really big breaths in and out of the chest. Where do you feel the sensation? Can you just be with that? Feeling, noticing, investigating. We're going to do this again, coming up high. Dip the left, exhale. Use the inhale to come right back up. Wide collarbones, strong finger pads. Exhale, right shoulder dips. Inhale, come on up. And this time, go ahead and take your hands, narrow back onto your mat. Lift yourself up and back. Child's pose, but on your way, can you tuck your toes? We're gonna work a little bit more with the feet here and sensation in the feet. So you're in child's pose, but the toes are tucked. And then go ahead and come up into a cow shape, keeping the toes tucked. We're gonna keep the toes tucked for a little bit here. And then exhale, you're gonna go ahead and do a cat spine, but you're gonna come back kind of toward that child's pose again with the toes tucked. And inhale, come forward with the toes tucked, chest lifting. And exhale, come back. Now you're welcome to switch the feet, but I just wanted you to feel that sensation, the openness in the feet. And also what's possible when they have the extra kind of strength of the toes to kind of push into. All right, next stop is downward dog. So you can make your way into your downward dog shape. And once you get there, breathe deep, investigate the shape. This is an interesting one because it really gives a sensation in a lot of different places in the body. It's very holistic that way. It's a nice one to pause and check in, kind of scanning the body. And again, if it's working for you, if this technique I offered of imagining pouring light into the spaces where you want the awareness to be, if that technique helps you, keep using it. The more that you use these tools, right, the more kind of just second nature their use becomes. And then we move beyond technique into transformation, right? As long as we're still kind of clunkily holding it, we're still separate from it. Yeah, eventually we go beyond, through. Okay, you're gonna come forward into plank pose, and I want you to just kind of feel how strong you are in plank pose. And then I want you to take a little jog. So you're just gonna, mountain climbers is what this is often called, just a little run in place, right? But in plank pose. And then back to downward dog. Inhale through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Now pick up your left leg, reach it up high. And then step your left foot forward outside of your left hand. And this is one place you might want the blanket. You're gonna lower your right knee down. Lots of sensation in this part of the body, for me at least. Meet that sensation with breath, with awareness, maybe with light. And then just only if it feels really safe, I'm gonna invite you today to do like a little rocking side to side or forward and back. Or even, for those who feel up for it, a little circle with the knee or the hip. Totally up to you. You have to follow that feeling inside, right? But I just want it to be intuitive. We'll be here 3 more really big breaths. Every time you pull your awareness into that inner world of yours, of sensation in real time, you're doing yoga. That's union. Okay, we're gonna get out of this really mindfully and slowly, picking up the right knee. Can you step back to plank pose with the belly nice and engaged? And again, do a little run. And then back to downward dog. Pick up your right leg on a big in-breath. Go slow, especially today, right? As we try to stay really aware inside. The rushing is a good indication that we're not really aware, right? Look forward, take the right foot outside of the right hand. Lower the left knee. And same thing here, let gravity work, right? Let gravity work on the heaviness of your body toward the earth, Mama Earth, right? Holding us, calling us home. And then let the lightness of the breath meet the heaviness of the stretch. If you wanted to rock or even kind of circle, you can follow that instinct. Make sure that you're breathing really deep, generous breaths for yourself. 2 more. Okay. Plank pose. So you press into the hands, engage the belly, pick up the left knee, and then step back to plank. And then lift the hips, downward dog again. From downward facing dog, just walk the feet forward until you end up in that standing forward fold at the front of the mat, hanging over the legs. If you want to kind of rock out the upper body, if that feels good, you can do that. But I would love for you to be envisioning some space in the neck vertebrae, upper back, some space in the mid back, low back, sacrum, some space in the backs of your legs, and yes, even the bottoms of your feet. 2 more breaths. Allow yourself to be with the breath, the full inhale and the full exhale. There's a sensation along with every moment of the breath cycle. And then you're going to round your way up. You might want to kind of soften in your joints a little bit more, make the upper body even heavier. Your legs are pretty strong, even though the knees might be bent. Your belly is engaged, pulled back to the spine, until you find yourself in Tadasana, mountain pose. So come into that shape. Close your eyes and go inside. Go inside to this incredible universe that only you have direct access to. Others can have access to it through you when you choose to share. But this is your sacred inner temple. It's been bequeathed to you. It is yours to inhabit and yours to maintain. And this is where your deepest learning comes from. This is where you experience the beauty of life, through this. And so I'm just gonna let you have a quiet moment to thank this inner world and to dedicate the rest of this class and maybe more to honoring it. Thank you for showing up for this sacred responsibility of taking care of your inner world. 2 sun salutations. On your inhale, look up and reach up and get really tall. Press your feet into the planet. As you breathe out, fold forward over your legs and let the head drop at the bottom of the pose. As you breathe in, lengthen your spine. Jump or step back as you breathe out, either chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here 5 breath cycles, or if you want a little rest, a little sweetness, you could come to child's pose. 1. Breathe for 2. Breathe deeply. 3. Just keep coming home to this inner world. 4. As you exhale, look forward, step or hop your feet forward. As you inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, dive on into your legs. Come up, pressing into the feet, engaging the belly, arms out and up, reach up. Exhale, just come right back to mountain pose. Come back to center. Come back to your dedication. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And then chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin, as you step back and lower. Inhale, coming to the tops of the feet, stretching the tops of the feet and the shins and the heart. Down dog, breathing out. Breathe in. Breathe out, 1. Breathe. For 2. Keep breathing. Can you just let your attention be here? Eventually it doesn't seem hard anymore, right? Because the attention doesn't want to run away. It starts to love being inside this world and just hanging out with the truths happening in real time right now. Look forward, step or hop, lengthen the spine, and then fold on down into your legs. Big breath out. Inhale and come all the way up, reach up. Exhale, stand tall and clear. Inhale, Utkatasana, sit the hips back and down, reach the arms up alongside your ears. 3 breaths here just to build a little heat, a little challenging. We're in solstice season, right? There's some heat to life right now. We can work with that. Then go ahead and take your hands to the ground, fold into your legs, and then let the legs straighten and let the head drop. Once again, you could do a chaturanga if you'd like, but we'll meet in downward facing dog. Once you arrive in downward dog, press into your hands and your feet, lift up through the belly to lift the hips. Then come forward to plank pose. And we're gonna do that thing again, mountain climber, where we run in place on our mat. But this time, once you're running in place, and then can you just let the left knee stay forward next time? Yeah? Yeah. And then step the left foot forward in between your hands, twist. Left arm lifts into the sky. Maybe you have a block under your right hand. Low lunge twist. 1. Really deep breaths, my friends. 2. 3. 3. Where's the sensation? Just allow your attention to go there. 4. Exhale, 5. Warrior 2. So you're gonna spin your back heel down and you're gonna unwind yourself and rise up. Gaze over your left fingers. Stay here and breathe. 1. Feel how strong you are. 2. Let go of the story of that and be in just the feeling of it. 3. 4. Exhale. 5. Straighten your left leg. Pivot all 10 toes to face one direction now for a straddle. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Take a moment where you look up toward the sky and reach your arms back behind you. Then hinge at your hips. Dive forward, fold forward. Head drop toward the ground. Breathe 5 breaths. 1. Where's the sensation now, right? The attention gets to go on this journey of sensation as we move to the asanas, or that's the Sanskrit word for poses, right? 4. Exhale. 5. Okay, I want us to do a little something now. So put your hands on the ground. And just gonna bend both knees, right? So bend both knees, your tush is probably sticking out, you know. Take your one right hand into the center, maybe on a block. And then take your left arm to the sky. And as you do that, let your right leg straighten a little bit. So it's got a little twist. For me, it's a hip opener. I feel something in my outer left hip. I also feel a lot in my right groin. Experiment with it. Experiment with how straight and how bent, with where the weight is. Breathe. Follow the sensations inside. And I'm going to add in one more thing here, just if it feels right. Swing this left arm around. Just let it go. Let it take a couple trips, right? And you can go the other way if you want, but just a little freedom and space and energy moving there. Good. Then I'm gonna let you make your way to face the front of the mat again for a low lunge. You're gonna make your way back to downward dog. Option for the vinyasa, but you'll notice it's a pretty vigorous class. So if you want to take a break, you can. Feel your breath. Come back to the center of your inner universe. Come forward to plank pose. Run in place, mountain climbers. And if it's fun for you, maybe a little faster than you did last time. And then pause with the right knee forward, okay? And then step the right foot forward and down. Take the right arm into the sky for this low lunge twist. I recommended a block on the other side. Same here if you want it. 1. Breathe for 2. In some of these poses, you're probably feeling sensations in lots of places. That's fine. Just allow your awareness to travel between those places. 3. 4. 5. Warrior 2. So you got to get strong into the earth, rooted through your feet. Come all the way up, spin the back heel down. Look over the right fingers once you arrive with the arms straight in line with your shoulders. Right knee over your right ankle. Gaze past your right fingers. Breathe. 2. Breathe. 3. If the legs are strong and the belly's engaged, the chest will start to feel like it's almost floating up away from the earth. 4. Exhale, 5. Straighten the right leg, parallel the feet to the side. Interlace your fingers behind you, lift up through your chest, then fold forward. Straddle forward fold for 5 breaths. If you want to do a different variation with your arms, be my guest. Breathe 1. Breathe for 2. Pouring your awareness, maybe imagining pouring light into the places in the body that are calling for it. It's not arbitrary. We're not just randomly pouring our awareness. So that could be an exercise, right? In these poses, we have something directly to respond to. That's where the energy goes, right? That's where the love goes to what's calling for it. All right, hands on the ground. And again, you'll bend both knees and kind of stick the tush out and just see what that feels like. And then the left hand will come into the center. And the right arm will come up. Left leg can start to straighten. And for me, that's where I get this nice deep stretch in my left groin. But experiment with what feels good here, rocking the weight forward or back or side to side. Breathe deeply and just be really generous with yourself. There's no rush. 3 more breaths. Option to swing the arm, just if that feels interesting. For me, sometimes when I have kind of sluggish energy, which happens a lot in the summer for me, really kind of doing a little more vigorous and kind of even fun, playful movement can be really helpful. And then you're going to make your way back to low lunge facing the front. Make your way back to downward dog with the option for a vinyasa. Hear your breath, feel your breath. Now we're going to do the exact same sequence. The first few poses, the ones we already know, these are going to be in a flow. We won't hold them. We'll just move through them with the breath, and then we will hold a couple extra poses at the end. So come forward into plank pose. Mountain climber, run in place. Left knee stays forward, and step the left foot down. Raise your left arm in a twist, breathe in. Press down to the feet, warrior 2. Come on up, breathe out. As you inhale, pivot to face the side, parallel your feet, interlace the fingers behind your back. Lift your chest, then exhale, fold. Inhale, hands to the ground, bend your knees, stick your tush out a bit. Take your right hand to center. You should be facing the front of the mat, left arm lifts. Maybe the right leg straightens. Stay here and just swing that arm if you want once or twice. And then we're gonna take it into Ardha Chandrasana. And maybe you can kind of swing that arm over toward Ardha Chandrasana. Left hand and left foot now facing forward. Come on up. The weight can be on a block under the left hand if you want. Left foot is on the ground, right leg and arm start to come up. Your chest should face the side. Your hips facing the side. The gaze can start down, but if you start to feel really confident, the gaze can start to come up. Breathe deep. 3, 4, 5. Look down. Step right foot next to left, Utkatasana. From Utkatasana, I want you to twist over to the right, hands in prayer, left arm hooks outside of the right leg, look over your right shoulder. Utkatasana twist for 1. You can do any variation you want. 2. Breathe 3, 4, and 5. Now come all the way up, 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 up. And then stick out the elbows, stick out the tongue, bulge the eyes, lion's breath. Stick out the tongue a lot. Lower the arms, lower the gaze, and just stand and feel your body in space. Bring the hands to prayer, come back to your dedication. Then inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen the spine. You're welcome to take a jump back if you want. We'll meet in a downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. One final time, you'll come forward to the plank pose and you'll do our mountain climbers. And then you'll pause with the right knee forward. You'll step the right foot down and lift the right arm, twist. Warrior 2, push the ground away as you push the exhale out. Rise up, cartwheel the arms, gaze over right fingers. Then straighten the right leg, parallel your feet, interlace the fingers behind your back, lift the chest, that's the inhale. Fold as you breathe out. Hands come forward, chest lifts, knees bend. Left hand comes center on the ground and the right arm comes up. The left leg might straighten. And then swing that right arm and then make your way forward, Ardha Chandrasana. Put weight on the right foot and the right hand. Possibly the right hand has a block. Got some tree roots under my foot, so makes for a fun challenge. Left arm is stacked on top of the right shoulder. Left hip stacked on top of the right hip. Feel yourself expansive. Breathe deep breaths. 3, 4, and 5. Look down if you're not already. Left foot steps next to the right foot, and then we bend both the knees and swing the arms up, breathing in. We'll twist to the left this time, right arm outside of the left leg, palms in prayer, gaze over the left shoulder, breathe for 1, 2. Let the hips sink back and let the chest be like just relaxed so we can open up to the side. 4, 5. Come all the way up. We'll do that lion's breath at first. Reach up, up, up. Get way to the top of the inhale. And then exhale, stick out the elbow, stick out the tongue really far. Take your hands to prayer in front of your heart and just close your eyes. Utkatasana. Inhale, sit back deep, flow. Arms alongside your ears. Then sit all the way down. Once you're seated, back up far enough that you can extend your legs straight for Paschimottanasana. Lift up through your heart and then fold forward. Stay here 8 breath cycles. Where do you feel the sensation in this pose? Meet those sensations with your attention. Attention is a movement of love, right? The most simple, basic, unadorned, unegoic form of love, right? Just to show up and be present with what's happening in your inner world. It's happening there anyway. It's just, are you listening? This is us learning how to listen to this sacred information. Make your way all the way up to sit. And then go ahead and take the toe tips to the ground. Take your arms forward, and then you're going to come onto your back. Some of you might want to block soon. So you'll come onto your back. And the first thing that we're going to do is just a little moving bridge pose. And so first, let's do the hips. So you're going to lift the hips up and lower the hips down. Here's the arms. The arms come up. Just do them on their own at first. The arms come up alongside the ears, and then they come back down. So let's tie it all together. So hips lift, breathe in. And then as the hips lower, the arms lift. So as the hips are lowering, the arms lift alongside your ear. And then go back. So as the hands come down, the hips lift up. You end up in this bridge with your hands alongside your heels. And then as you lower the hips, you let the arms do their pathway. Really big breath, get lots of breath into your lungs. And then as you press the breath out, you lift the hips up, getting really light as you empty yourself of air. Do a few more of these. Feeling graceful in the limb. Coordinated upper body and lower. Now, you could keep going. You could just keep doing this if this feels therapeutic. You could start to transition into full wheel pose. So the next time the hips are lifted, you could put your hands alongside your ears and lift all the way up to full wheel. Another option is once your hips are lifted, go to restorative bridge and just put a block right under your sacrum. Breathe wherever you are. Feel. Now, once you come out of the full wheel, if that's what you're doing, or you wrap up from those rolling bridges, everybody just meet on the back, either with a block under your sacrum, just if that feels really lovely, or with your feet wide and your knees together. In any case, it should be a nice sensation in the sacrum. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and just breathe. And let the breath do the work. Inside of the pose is where the real work is happening, right? Okay, now you're gonna have an invitation for a twist here. And you could either just do this by like kind of just flopping the knees over to the left, or you could flop the knees over to the left and additionally take your left foot on top of your right thigh and let that bring more weight into the stretch, okay? Just as that feels good. Now arms wide, look over your right shoulder. And feel your breaths. We're starting to wind down toward the end of class. And at least for me at this point, often, my awareness is just it's more tuned in, right? I can notice these subtle things inside. I notice things that I just could not notice at the beginning of class because my attention was so scattered and so external. We're going to come up and just switch sides. So kind of get back to center for yourself, then let the knees go over to the right. And for those who are joining me in this variation, right foot now can go over the left leg so that you bring that down with more weight. This time the head turns to the left, away from the leg. Notice where you feel the sensation, then breathe in and out of those places. Let what's heavy inside you be heavy, but meet it with light. Okay, from here, you're going to make your way back onto your back. And we're actually going to come up and do some kind of inversion. And you might want to do an active inversion. It's a pretty active class. But headstand or handstand even might feel really good today, actually. If you don't want to do a more active inversion, of course, you could just stay on your back and lift your legs up in the air. I'm going to give you a minute or two for this. So you want to go to a wall, you could do that quickly. Not a ton of time, but enough that you can set up at the wall and still get like a minute of handstand if you want. Again, happy to do tutorials for any of the poses, especially those ones that I just say, hey, you could do this, but I'm not going to teach it to you. I'm going to do a headstand here for 1 minute. Notice the sensations wherever you are. When you are ready to come down, make sure you do whatever counter poses you like to do or feel appropriate. And then actually come up to sit. We're going to close today with a little breath practice. So come to a seated position and we're going to do Nadi Shodhana. So take your right hand in front of your face, put your middle finger right into your third eye, hover the right thumb outside of the right nostril, and hover the left ring finger outside of your left nostril. Sorry, right ring finger outside of your left nostril. Take a big breath in through both nostrils. They're totally open still, and then both breathe out of both. Now plug up your right nostril and just breathe in through your left. Plug that up and breathe out of your right. Stay on the right side, breathe in right. Then switch, breathe out left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. And exhale left. Then float the right hand down and breathe in through both nostrils. clear pathways, breathe out through both. You can either close your practice seated for a 5-minute meditation, or lying on your back for Shavasana, or any other restorative pose. Wherever you go, just make sure you get really comfy. And now is the part that's the most challenging for most of us who have been conditioned by this particular culture. The challenge is drop all the techniques. Stop using all of the technology and just fall back into what you already are. Awareness already is. Life already is. Trust that all of the techniques we've used up till now have removed the blockages to you experiencing a taste of your true self. Unmanufactured, unmanipulated. This true self simply is. When we really let go, that's all that's left. It may feel right for you to rest longer. If your inner world gives you that information, please do follow. If you feel rested enough and like you're ready to move on, just make sure you move very slowly, honoring all of these beautiful efforts you've made by gently and respectfully closing the practice. I like to do this by bringing my hands into prayer. by bowing to the truth, the love, the awareness inside of myself and inside of all beings. Om Bolo Shri Satguru Mata Devi Ki.